This is the House of Andrea. I'm Andrea Lee Matthews, an artist, photographer, and clairvoyant medium. And in this podcast, we explore what it really means to thrive as a soul having a human experience. How to connect with our energy, transcend those edges and boundaries that we create for ourselves, and open to the full spectrum of who we are. If you're ready to see yourself differently, to sense more deeply, and to expand into more of who you are, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back. I'm your host, Andrea Lee Matthews. And today I wanted to talk about the concept of grounding, particularly in the world that we are in here of starting to really open ourselves up and connect to everything that we are at a soul level, everything that exists for us in our past, in our future timelines, and everything that exists for us in source and in the field. Grounding is such an important part of the process that I really wanted to just spend some time unpacking that today, what it means, how I ground, and why we can't skip it. So I want to start with a little bit of a story and give a little bit of context to my journey with connecting in with my senses, opening myself up, and how I discovered that I actually wasn't grounding enough, and it was playing havoc on my abilities, my ability to focus, my ability really to do this work in this space. And I think the best place to start with this is to share a little bit about my journey with my body, which, if you've been listening to my other podcast, Body Diaries, I talk a lot about my history with my body, and in earlier episodes of this podcast, a little bit about the journey that I've had. But one of the things that I have had to navigate over the longest time, it's way, way better these days, but one of the things that I had to navigate for the longest time was dissociation with my body. And dissociation for me has always been this feeling that my body wasn't a safe place, that it wasn't a place that I ever wanted to be. I had a really difficult relationship with my body because when I was a child, I was always overweight. I grew up as a rotund, a chubby child that was picked on a lot, and clothes that were fashionable or that I really wanted to wear didn't fit, and everything was really uncomfortable. And quite early on, I developed an eating disorder, a binge eating disorder. So to manage my feelings, I would snack and I would eat particularly sweet or comforting foods that took me away from the feelings that I had about myself and about the body that I was in. And so being in my body just became this place that I just didn't want to be. A place of discomfort, of shame, of embarrassment, of disgust. So it was just this sensation that grew within me over and over again over time of, I don't want to be in this body, right? And I just completely started to disassociate from that. I would want to be everywhere else other than present in my physical form. So whether that was buried in stories or movies or computer games. I got heavily into gaming back in the mid to late 90s. All of those amazing retro games that had great stories underneath them. I love the movies, and I think that's also where this love for multimedia and programming and film, my early degrees, came from, because it was this magical escape that happened to not be in the physical now, not being in my physical body, being in the the realm of imagination, of wonder that felt tangible. It wasn't just a daydream imagination or being somewhere else in my mind. These were physical places and stories that I was experiencing through these creative arts and creative forms, that I just wanted to be in those places. Or when I started to develop my spiritual abilities and things like meditation practice, being anywhere else other than in the present moment in my physical body was just delicious. And this eating disorder, this battle with my body lasted decades and decades and decades, up until my late 30s. And so this was a very well-grained, well-patterned behavior of mine, that it wasn't even something that I felt like I needed to escape, because it was just so familiar and so comfortable. And it felt good to be, if it was a meditation, out there in the ether, in a visualization where everything was possible and everything felt light and felt good, or buried in a creative project or something where I was creating a world that was perfect, magical, comfortable, exciting. And this disassociation just continued. But what it meant was that I was never fully present. I was never fully in my body, in the physical moment. There was always a part of me, even if I was at work, even if I was doing that heavily strategic, logical work, or present in a relationship, a friendship, an experience, there was always part of me that was still out there. But when you spend your entire time out there, yes, you can be tapped into some of the incredible things in the field, but there's no real way to take all of that incredible stuff that we visualize, all the stuff that we remember, like talking about last week on the podcast, this remembrance, this plugging in and tapping in. We can be connected to that, being out there, being in our meditation, or being outside of our bodies. But the body and the physical experience is how it gets grounded into reality. It's how it gets grounded into physical form. And so I had to learn to create safety in my body, to ground my energy back into my body, back into the present moment, to be able to do something with it, to be able to really powerfully connect all that I was, both energetically, spiritually, and a soul level, and physically, into this form, to be able to really do this work at the highest level, to be able to be everything that I am. Because yes, we are souls having a human experience, but we're having a human experience. The human part of that is being in a physical form. It is being tangible and physical and grounded. We can't just go, we can, but it's not the same level of experience. We can never really achieve or experience everything that is here for us to experience in a lifetime if we remain disassociated, if we remain out there and avoiding being in the physical body. And I really do understand what it feels like to find it impossible to come home to your body. But being brave enough to do the work, to face the fear, to go into the places where you don't want to go and face it and just say, I see you, I've got you, I love you, I'm returning you home, I'm letting this go. Working with the incredible energies, modalities, healing, whatever format your soul yearns for or speaks to you, being brave enough to face that, to come home to your body, changes everything. Because when we start to remember who we are, when we start to remember what we are capable of, what we're tapped into, what is available to us, and we are grounded, we are present, that's when we can actually do something with it. We have this incredible, visceral, next level source of power to be able to fuel those actions. I don't know if you've ever had that experience where you have the incredible idea come to you, or you start to get that spark, that passion, that forward drive, that yearning of an idea or a desire or a vision that you're having. And I'm like, this is it. This is what I want to create. And then it comes to actually having to take action or do something with it. And all of a sudden, it's like you hit a huge wall of doubt, of fear, of shame, of I'm tired, I can't harness the momentum, I can't find the strength. All of a sudden, all I want to do is just lay in bed. It feels heavy, it feels lethargic, it feels tired. That's because we are not in our physical form, and we are trying to execute physical things from an ungrounded, disconnected, spread all over the place, energetic place. And it becomes impossible to really live this human experience, which a core part of that is to create things. I honestly believe that one of the reasons why we incarnate into the human form is, yes, to experience things physically, but it's to create things physically. And that could be artistically, that could be by using your voice, that could be by creating something that heals people, inspires people, motivates people, brings people back together. Those things are very physical, they're tangible, they take physical actions and decisions and movement and connections and getting into rooms and spaces and building things with your hands, even if that's just typing on a keyboard. It requires you to be connected to your physical form and grounded into the earthly plane to be able to take all of that energy and make something with it through your body. And so that's why having some grounding practices can start to bring you home, can start to create enough space, enough reconnection with yourself that you can start to heal some of those things that are keeping you out of your body. Some of the pain, some of the trauma, some of the fear, the shame, the judgment, the self-disgust. I say these words with such love because they are things that I have been through, I have felt. That the depth of disgust that we as humans are able to manufacture for ourselves is mind-blowing. The depths that we can go to from a disconnected self-hatred perspective always blows my mind, just how much we can feel and create for ourselves. Opening the door to coming home, making that decision, making that commitment to ourselves, choosing to come home, to be back in this physical experience is one of the bravest, noblest, most powerful decisions that we can make, and it will change the trajectory that we're on dramatically, because instead of operating outside of the body in the safe zone, in a space where we feel less of those dense self-loathing, self-hating emotions, instead of staying in that space, we can come into and face them, hold space for them, love them, let them be there, and then move them out. Move them on, change them, change the programming, change the coding. And there are so many incredible modalities that you can use to change the programming on those. But even simply, powerfully, we can make the decision, the line in the sand, drawing on what we were talking about last week in the episode around remembrance, we can just remember what it feels like to not have that. Even if we have to reach way back into the past, we can remember and declare and decide enough is enough. I want this physical experience, this human body, this connection that I have with this physical body of mine. I'm choosing and am deciding to change the relationship that I have, to come home to that. And that's where some basic grounding practices can open the door to being able to make that decision. And one of the most powerful ways is connecting with the earth. Connecting with the earth, because the earth, and when I say earth, I just mean the physical surfaces underneath us, because everything underneath us is supported by this incredible, powerful planet Earth, right? Even if you're in a building, even if you're on the 20th floor, you're in a house, or you're in something that is sitting on this incredible, powerful, beautiful rock that is spinning and twirling and traveling through space in the universe, that is complete magic. And it is real, it is tangible, it is physical, and the earth knows that it's a physical object, that it's a physical experience, and it is so good at connecting to itself and connecting to the evolution, the growth, the expansion, the expression of what it is. And so by allowing ourselves the ability to connect to the earth, to connect our physical material to something that is equally powerfully physical, helps our bodies remember what it is like to love itself and express itself confidently and freely. And by opening the door of this remembrance, by mapping the power that resides in this rock that we're sitting on, that's floating in space, that loves itself, that expresses itself, that is unconditional, by connecting our physical form to that, we can match that frequency. We can match that remembrance. And when we start to match that, it creates a safer place for us to come home to, for our soul, our energy, our essence. It opens the door for that energy to come home. And sometimes all we need is to start that process, to open the door, to get a tiny, even if it's just a minuscule glimpse of what that feels like. That tiny, tiny little glimpse. That is enough for parts of our soul, parts of our energy to be able to return to the body, to reconnect, to remember what it feels like to be whole, to be powerful. It just starts that process of remembering that we can, over time, sometimes it's quick, sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but over time we can start to ground back in. We can start to realize that the physical experience, the human experience, is actually a delicious, incredible, life-changing, life-motivating experience that is available to us. And as we come home, that's when we can get into those powerful decisions of, I no longer want this shame. I no longer want to carry this trauma, that fear, that shame. I'm going to start either working with healing modalities to heal it, or I'm going to just start declaring that I love myself regardless, that I'm coming home regardless, that it is safe to let this go and play a different song, have a different tune, have a different frequency of safety, of trust, of power, and allowing anything that you've gone through to be held with love of growth, of expansion, of change, of a remembrance of your bravery. It is possible to get to a point where you can look back on anything that's happened to you of trust, of bravery, of courage, of gratitude for who you were and how you led yourself through it. to be able to see how it forged you through fire to be the incredible person that you are, to do the work that you do, to be able to connect with your soul, with your spirituality, with your energy, your essence in the way that you can now, because it opened you, it expanded you, it forced you to look at shadows and heal and grow and expand, to be able to receive more, to tap into more, to be able to then have a physical experience that's grounded in reality, in a physical body that you can now leverage to create the magic that you're here to create the art, to create the events, the experiences, the fashion, the music, the everything that you are here to do. You're now coming home to a physical experience in a physical body, grounded, ready, present, active, able to move. You're not just in the vision or in the clouds or in the ether where it's safe anymore. You're grounded in that physical body to be able to do something with it. There is no better experience. And so I want you to know that if you are in a place where it feels impossible, it still feels scary, it feels difficult, it feels like unfathomable. Honestly, you're just listening to this and you're like, that's not going to happen for me. My trauma is too deep. My trauma is too big. It's too scary. It's too fearful. I've never been able to overcome it. And so I don't know how I'm going to overcome it. I kind of like it up in the ether. I hear this a lot. And I do remember feeling this myself. It's like, I like it up here. Why would I go anywhere else? Why would I look at the shadows? Why would I go back into those feelings? Don't make me feel that anymore. Don't make me look at that again. I understand that. But just know, by living up in that space, in that ether, you're only getting half of the experience that you came here for. As a soul incarnated in your body at this time, you're only getting part of the experience. There is so much more for you to feel, for you to create, and coming home to your body, grounding in, bringing your whole self, your spirituality, your energy, your essence, your mind, your emotion, your physicality, the things that you can touch, smell, taste, experience through your physical senses, amplified by your energetic senses, your intuitive knowing, your clairvoyance, your clairsentience, your everything. Bringing those together in the 360 is what is going to blow your mind in terms of the potential of the experience that you have. But it takes the courage to choose to come home. It takes the bravery to ground back in your body. And the way to open the door to that is to just take the baby step and start connecting to the certainty that is under your feet, that's underneath you. Even if it's like 20 stories down underneath the building, that building is certain. That building is made of material that is certain, that come from the earth, that are connected to the earth. You can go out in nature barefoot and naked and lay on the ground too if you want to. But just feeling yourself reconnect to the certainty, to the earth who knows and trusts and loves being in its full expression, it'll start to bring you home again. And you'll start to realize how non-negotiable it is, how incredible it feels to finally love your body, to finally be home in a vessel that can create magic. And here's the best part. You don't actually have to change your physical body to fall in love with the experience of being in a human body. This has been one of the biggest lessons that I have learned over my lifetime, particularly having such a strong history of despising and being disgusted by my body based on my weight or my appearance or the things that I judged as being imperfect. It is possible to love the physical form that you're in when your soul is grounded in it and it remembers everything that you have been now and in the past. you can fall in love with your physical form without changing it, without losing a ton of weight or being the picture perfect thing that you think that you have to be. You can actually be in your physical body and realize how powerful your sense of touch is when you run your hands over incredible surfaces and textures and get that whole body chill and be like, oof, I remember what this feels like. Or to smell something or taste something or see something, hear something, experience an interaction with someone. It doesn't matter what you look like or what you can and can't do. These things don't amplify these experiences that I'm talking about. What amplifies those experiences is being anchored with your full awareness, your full consciousness, your essence in the physical form to be present to receive them. And it's amazing what happens when you bring all of that and you anchor that into your body, and then you start to have these experiences and you realize those other things that you thought mattered, appearance, looks, certain size, certain shape, certain ability, they actually don't matter. They don't matter as much. And your love for yourself grows, that you're like, oh, imagine what I can achieve regardless of where I am, regardless of what I can do or how I look. My relationship with my body and myself has changed dramatically over the last, it happens more rapidly every year. But if I compare even just 5 years ago how I felt about my body to how I feel now, it is like worlds apart. The disgust, the constant dieting, the needing to look a certain way, to feel a certain way has all dropped away now. And I just love being in my physical body, even though, of course, I still aim to look after it. I fuel it well. I work out. I would love to be able to dress in different clothing. But that is not enough for me to not love myself now, to not show up, to not take those micro actions based on the fears that I had in the past or the judgments. None of that matters now. I can take micro actions because I want to have those experiences, and I love myself enough to back myself. These are the kinds of things that start to shift and start to change when we come down and anchor into our bodies, when we connect into everything that we are, all of our senses, all of our soul, all of our essence, and all of that remembrance, everything that is around us, we realize we're more than just the physical body that we judged or we had terrible experiences in, that we disassociated from. We start to come home to the full experience of being a soul in a human body at this time, and just what is possible for that. And when we love ourselves on that level, we dream bigger. We push ourselves further into our potential, which is just magical. And our lives start to change. And before we know it, we look back, even over short periods of time. Like I look back 6 or 12 months ago and I'm like, how is my life so beautiful and so expansive now? How is this even possible? Like this wasn't even on my radar to feel like this. But we realize it's real. It's true. The things that we were willing to face, the work that we were willing to do, the connection back to ourselves that we were willing to make was worth it, because this is where I am now, and this is what I love, and this is everything. So if you are feeling like it's time to heal the dissociation, to come back home to your body, because you feel the power of your soul, of your essence, of everything that you are plugged into, but know that you need to be in your body to be able to do that. You need to be back in love, in trust, in connection with the physical part of this experience. Start to ground. Start to connect back to the earth. There are so many different grounding practices that you can do. You can access the body through breath. You can, like I said, just be conscious and aware of feeling the earth underneath you, being supported, being held by something that knows how to love itself. You can go out and spend more time in nature, connect through physical touch of trees and rocks and water, swim in the ocean, get your feet in the sand, in the mud, stand in the rain, get under the moon. Like, there are an infinite number of avenues to get yourself back into the physical form, and just trust your intuition on that. Whatever pops up in your ideas, in conversations, interactions, things that pop up around you, watch for those moments on opportunities of grounding. Once you make that choice of, okay, universe, please bring me what makes the most sense to me to start grounding back into my physical form so I can experience this whole connection. Just watch what comes up and comes to you and follow it. Follow it with trust. Don't get into your head. Don't second guess. Is this the thing? Is this the grounding practice? Is this what you meant? Or is there something else? Oh, I don't know if that's enough. Just don't let any of that mind chatter in the way. Just get into whatever you're guided to do and allow yourself to start connecting back to yourself, because it will change your life. It will change everything, and you will start to be able to experience this life in the full, infinite possibility of what it is to be a human at this time, in this body, in this lifetime, who's fully connected to their senses, to their abilities, to their knowing, to their soul's wisdom right now. If you want to share your favorite grounding practices, please do. I would love to hear them. Of course, the invitation is always there. If you want to work together to dive into this, to look at what your grounding practices are, what your soul is calling for in this space, reach out to me. We can work together one-on-one. I'm always, always here. But in the meantime, just listen to your body and start playing with some of the ways to just open the door to coming home, and then following those signals of where you can start to heal, to love yourself back to a place where you're whole and really live everything that you're here to live. I love you. I hope you have an absolute beautiful week of starting to come home to yourself, and I'll see you in the next episode. If you're not in there yet and you want to get into the private Telegram space where all of these audios drop every day, as well as all the art, the conversation, and the behind the scenes, go to www.andrealeematthews.com/private podcast. You can also follow me on Instagram at Andrea Lee Matthews, and you can find more about me and all of my work at andrealeematthews.com. I'll see you in the next transmission.